In the ancient days, when thick forests still swallowed entire roads, and some villages remained hidden from the modern world, there existed a place so feared that even its name was avoided by travelers. It was a village buried deep within the shadowy heart of southeastern Nigeria, surrounded by towering Iroko trees, winding red earth paths, and rivers said to carry the whispers of the dead. No visitor who entered that village uninvited was ever seen again. At first, neighboring communities believed wild animals were responsible. Some blamed evil spirits. Others whispered of curses. But the truth was far more terrifying. The people of that hidden village did not merely kill strangers. They ate them. It was not an act of hunger. It was tradition. A sacred law passed down through generations. To them, outsiders were sacrifices gifted by their ancestors. Their flesh was divided equally among households. Their blood was offered to the gods, and their bones were buried beneath the village square as symbols of protection and prosperity. For centuries, this horrifying custom remained alive, protected by fear and silence. Children born into the village were raised to accept it without question. Among those children was a boy named Chinedu. From the outside, Chinedu seemed no different from the others. He grew up farming, fetching water, and learning the ancient customs of his people. But deep inside, he carried something dangerous: doubt. Unlike many of his peers, Chinedu struggled with the rituals of his homeland. As a child, he remembered the first stranger he ever saw brought into the village. A lost hunter from a distant town. The man had wandered too close to Forbidden's land and was captured before sunset. That night, the entire village gathered in celebration. Drums thundered beneath the moon. Women danced. Children sang. The elders sharpened ceremonial blades. Young Chinedu had stood beside his mother, confused by the excitement, until he saw the hunter tied to a wooden stake. The man screamed, begged, promised wealth, promised anything for his life.
Beg you!
But mercy did not exist in that place.
Let me go!
When the blade finally
I beg
descended,
you!
Chinedu's
Please!
innocence died with it. He never forgot the smell of blood, the sound of screaming, or the horrifying sight of villagers smiling as flesh was prepared over fire. From that day forward, fear lived inside him. As he grew older, Chinedu became determined to escape. Fortunately, his intelligence earned him an opportunity rare for someone from his village. He was sent to Lagos for schooling. For the first time, Chinedu entered a world beyond the forest. The city overwhelmed him. Bright lights, crowded buses, laughter, noise, freedom. In Lagos, Chinedu discovered something he had never truly known: humanity. Here, strangers were not prey. Visitors were welcomed. Friendships were formed freely. And for the first time, Chinedu began to build a life separate from the darkness of his birthplace. Yet no matter how far he traveled, he could never fully outrun his secret. He avoided discussions about home, never invited classmates to visit, never spoke of his village traditions. And whenever holidays approached, dread consumed him, because he always had to return. At university, Chinedu's closest friend was Tund. Tund was vibrant, fearless, and endlessly curious. Where Chinedu was cautious, Tund was adventurous. He loved new experiences, unfamiliar places, and cultural exploration. The two became like brothers. Tund trusted Chinedu deeply. But there was one thing he could never understand. Why was Chinedu so secretive about his home? Tund often joked, "Are you hiding a palace in your village?" Chinedu would force a laugh, but inside, panic stirred. Over time, Tund became increasingly determined to visit. He wanted to experience true village life, to meet Chinedu's family, to see where his best friend came from. Each time he asked, Chinedu refused. At first politely, then firmly. But Tund's persistence knew no bounds. For months he begged, pleaded, teased, until Chinadu found himself trapped. Refusing forever would only raise suspicion, and Chinadu feared that curiosity might one day drive Tund there alone. So, against every instinct screaming inside him, he agreed. The journey home was long and unsettling. As they left Lagos behind, paved roads gave way to rough terrain. Bustling towns faded into silence. Dense forest closed around them. And the deeper they traveled, the heavier Chinadu's heart became. Tund, however, remained excited. "This is amazing," he said, gazing out at the endless trees. "You really grew up out here." Chinadu forced a weak smile, but his stomach churned. By dusk, they arrived. The village looked almost peaceful. Mud houses stood beneath moonlit trees. Smoke rose from cooking fires. Children played in the distance. But beneath the calm surface, something darker waited. As Tund entered beside Chinadu, villagers began to stare. Their gazes lingered too long. Whispers spread rapidly. Mothers pulled children closer. Men exchanged knowing looks. Tund chuckled awkwardly. "Your people really don't see visitors often, huh?" But Chinadu could barely breathe. His mother's face turned pale the moment she saw Tund. "You brought an outsider here," she whispered in horror. "He's my friend," Chinadu replied quietly. His mother's hands trembled. "Then may the ancestors protect you both." That night, Chinadu locked every door, covered every window, and sat directly before Tund. His voice had never sounded so serious. "Listen to me carefully." Tund frowned. "Why are you acting like this? No matter what happens tonight." Chinadu's voice shook. "Do not leave this house." Tund laughed nervously. "Seriously? I mean it." "Why?" But Chinadu could not bring himself to reveal the full truth. So he simply said, "If you value your life, stay inside." For the first time, Tund obeyed. At least for a while. Then night deepened, and the sounds began. Drums, low, rhythmic, ancient. Chants rose from the village square. Voices carried through the darkness. Curiosity gnawed at Tund's adventurous spirit. He peered through cracks in the wooden walls. Torches flickered outside. Villagers gathered in ceremonial robes. Some danced. Others sharpened blades. His pulse quickened. What kind of tradition was this? Unable to resist, Tund made a fatal decision. Just one step outside. Just one quick look. Quietly, he unlatched the door and stepped into the night. The drums stopped instantly. Silence crashed over the village. Slowly, every villager turned. Their eyes locked onto him. And in that moment, Tund understood. He was not a guest. He was prey. An elder stepped forward, his aged voice trembling with delight. "The ancestors have blessed us." A wave of excitement erupted. "Fresh meat. Bring him. The offering must be shared." Tund stumbled backward in terror. "No, no." He ran inside, slamming the door behind him. "Chinadu." His voice cracked. "They want to kill me." Chinadu's face drained of all hope. "I warned you." Outside, pounding fists struck the walls. "Bring out the visitor. The law must be honored. No family can deny the gods." Tund's body shook violently. "This is insane." Chinadu's father entered, his expression broken. "If we refuse, they will kill us all." For the first time in his life, Chinadu made a choice. Not as a villager, but as a friend. That night, under darkness, he led Tund through a secret path beyond the village borders. A narrow hunter's trail hidden for generations. "You must keep running," Chinadu whispered. "Do not stop until sunrise." Tund grabbed him desperately. "Come with me." But Chinadu stepped back. "If I leave, they will hunt us both." Tears filled Tund's eyes. "You saved me." Chinadu forced a sad smile. "You were my first true friend." Behind them, drums thundered once more. The village had discovered the escape. Torches lit the forest. Voices screamed. Chinadu pushed him forward. Run! Tund fled into the darkness. Branches tore at his skin. Roots clawed at his feet. Behind him he heard shouting, then screaming, then Chinadu's voice, and silence. By sunrise, Tund reached the nearest town half-dead with exhaustion. Authorities investigated his story. But when search parties entered the forest, the village was gone. No houses, no shrines, no people, only endless trees. As though the earth itself had swallowed the cursed place whole. Tund never forgot. Years later, he still trembled when speaking of that night. Of the village hidden in darkness. Of the friend who sacrificed himself. And of the terrifying truth. Some traditions are so evil. They should never be remembered. And somewhere, deep within forgotten forests, there may still exist villages, waiting for strangers.